Stacy, and today we have a fun video. We are going to be testing out the new Be Perfect times Stacy Marie Carnival the Antidote palette. Now that is a freaking mouthful, but I do love these palettes. I have the I Love Tahiti, which is the third one, and the Carnival XL, which is the second one. I don't have the original Carnival, but the palettes are great quality. I've actually already used this a few times. And now she is a massive, massive eyeshadow palette. She is 45 shades. This is what she looks like. And she retails for $55.95. Now, Be Perfect is a British company, but they do have an American site that you can order this eyeshadow palette from, and it's like $7 for shipping. So nothing too crazy. And again, the quality is awesome. Now, I'm not going to swatch all these today because that would take forever, but we are going to do a look with it and we'll talk about my thoughts because I have used actually most of the colors in this eyeshadow palette. I've done several looks with it off camera, just kind of playing around and, you know, because that's what you do with eyeshadow. These things are so massive. These are the bananas from Shein, and they look so silly, but they do the job. But I wanted to do a green look. Surprise, surprise, surprise. That Betsy wants to do a green eyeshadow look. Who's shocked? Because I couldn't resist this eyeshadow palette because of the greens. But I also love a good grungy kind of fall toned themed eyeshadow palette. You know what I mean? Like, y'all know that. Like, give me all the fall tones. So I'm gonna start off, and I have primed my eyes with the MAC Paint Pot in Soft Ochre. So we're gonna start off with Dove, and this is a airbrush concealer brush by It Cosmetics, but it actually does good for, it's just what I had right here, but it does good for placing like your setting shade, and I'm just using Dove all over the eyelid. But, I mean, you can see that has really good pigmentation. Now, these shadows don't always swatch the best, but they perform really well. And there are a ton of swatches out there. There's in a ton of videos, and I'm getting this up late, so it's like, you know what? We're gonna play with the colors that I feel like playing with today, because kind of no point in not doing that. And so next up, I have the It Cosmetics Airbrush Shadow Brush, and we're gonna go into the shade Moss right here. I love a good pukey green like that, and see how well it picks up on the brush. Now, I did load up the brush, but that's because that's what I do. And I'm just blending that all into the crease area. But you see how much pigmentation is there? It's actually got a lot of pigmentation, especially for such a light, bright color. Sometimes these kinds of greens on my skin tone, which y'all know I love green eyeshadows, but sometimes these kinds of green eyeshadows can tend to not show up. But this one definitely does. I mean, and as you can see, it really isn't like hard to blend out. They're easy to work with, which is part of the reason why I love these. As I've said, I've had such good luck with this brand, and I would have never found it if it weren't for Heather Austin and Karen Harris. Like, they kept raving about the I Love Tahiti. So I was like, well, I'll grab it. I grabbed it, and then now I'm hooked. I'm hooked. And I want to try some of their other stuff, but I don't know, like, the other collabs. So next up, I'm going to go into the shade Sable right here. And this is on an Effortless Crease brush. I bought some new It brushes whenever they were on sale for Ulta because I hate washing brushes. And so these are clean and these are right here. So that's why we're using IT brushes. I mean, they're good quality brushes. And don't get me wrong, I have a lot of IT Cosmetics brushes that I have had for ever and ever and ever. But you see how easy that is just blending? Which I think is probably the most important part. And you know, I do the same eye shape for the most part over and over and over because I'm not a makeup artist, but I still want to have color, you know, I still want it to be pretty. I'm going to go back over the edge of that with the brush that had moss on it, just to make sure everything looks nice and smooth. Okay, no, I'm gonna leave these on these. There we go. I think I put them on too tight. Well, I know I put them on too tight. Okie dokie, let's see. I need something small to blend with. Okay, what do I want to use? I don't see anything. Let's see, I've got some new ColourPop brushes too. Let's grab one of those. Okay, so this is a ColourPop E17. And we're gonna go into the shade Antidote. Isn't that a beautiful color? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So we're gonna apply that into the outer crease. Well, not really just the outer crease, but the whole outer V. I love a good forest green. Well, I mean, the color on my eye matches my hair. Now, one thing I am doing, I need to make sure I'm doing a little bit more of, is bringing it up, like when my eyes are open, so I can see what I'm doing, because I want to make sure you can see the color above it, and my Botox is wearing off, so my eyelids look a little saggier than normal. But I am trying some new skincare stuff, and before I got Botox, I wanted to see if it did anything. So we want to make sure we blend it so that way when our eyes are open, you can see them, the color. But you see how effortless this is? I mean, that's part of what I love about them. And to me, $45, or not $45, $55 for 45 shades, that's not terrible. Like, that is something I feel like is completely and utterly doable. And they do sales quite often, and they do good sales. And I'm sure that they'll have an amazing Black Friday sale. But if you're interested in trying Be Perfect or any of these Carnival palettes, so far I've tried 3 of them and they've been amazing quality. So it's kind of like whatever tickles your fancy or tickles your pickle. If there's a color story, then try it. But yeah. See how good that looks? Y'all, don't even know. So, I just, yeah, I can't. So I'm gonna grab, this is the NYX Glitter Glue. And if you know, you know, I use this all the time, all the time. So this is a smoothing concealer brush from IT, and we're just gonna pat that out. All over the lid. And this kind of creates a faux cut crease. If you want to use this to create a cut crease, I'm sure you could, but you'd have to clean everything out underneath. And that is something I don't really want to do. So I'm gonna go into the shade Nectar right here, which is a greeny gold. And we're going to apply that all over the lid. Look how pretty that is. See, and on the lid, it actually pulls a little bit more bronze, which is fine by me. But anyways, I like to pat it all over first. There we go. See how good that looks on the lid? But yeah, see, it's kind of just like, that's what I like to do, and I kind of drag it to make sure it doesn't get clumpy. And then just pat and go over. And I'm gonna use the back side of the brush, and I'm gonna go into the shade Granite, which is a little bit grungier metallic. So right here is Granite. That one right there. And we're going to apply that towards the back side. I like mixing different shimmers. I love that it kind of gives a little bit extra texture and dimension. My eyelids don't like me anymore. The hard part of getting older. So, let's see. And I need to apply just a little bit more. Of Nectar. Perfect, perfect. Okay, I'm gonna grab my little blendy brush and blend over the edge, because I did get a little bit crazy and it got a little bit above, which is fine. So this is the tops of the eyes done. I am going to go off camera. I'm going to do the rest of my makeup, and then we'll come back and do the lower lash line, and I will give you my final thoughts on this palette. So I'm back and I have the rest of my face on. I used the Charlotte Tilbury, the Nude Gasm face palette. I have been loving this. This is the bronzer, blush, and highlight. There's something about this, like, you can see that this bronzer, like when I swatch it, isn't very dark, but on the skin, like, it shows up on me. It's like some weird sorcery, and I want to understand how Charlotte does it. Then I also have the shade Spare Time in my waterline, which is the collaboration between Raw Beauty Kristi and ColourPop. And then on my lips, I have Dropout by Sugar Pill. Now, I am not one typically to go bold like this for a lip, but I am kind of digging it. So that is what is on the rest of my face. So we're gonna go ahead and apply some shadow underneath my eyes, because, you know, gotta complete the look. But yeah, I mean, and while I'm doing that, we can go ahead and talk about the palette, because I know my thoughts on this palette. I love this palette. I think it's a great palette. I'm gonna use the ColourPop E21, and I'm gonna go into Antidote, which was that darkest green, which is the same color I have on the very outskirts of my eyes. But I think it's great quality. And, you know, honestly, out of the color stories that have come out that I have, I Love Tahiti and the Carnival XL Pro and the Antidote, I would say that the Antidote, I'm using the same brush and then going into Moss. Anyways, I feel like the Antidote one is more of my color story. This is getting very Halloween or spooky season vibes, and I am here for it. But yeah, this color story is definitely my favorite out of the color stories. And I think that it's great quality, you know, and I think especially because we're coming up on holidays, this is a great palette for people just starting off with makeup and stuff like that too, because it can be neutral, but then it's got some color to it. And I feel like a lot of times, like, these grungier tones in color can be easier to work with when you're wanting to experiment with color, because you can use some of these grungy tones and then mix it with the brown and it blends and it's easier to deal with. Now, I think for my inner corner, I'm gonna go into this shade right here, which is called Silvery. Now, I did use some of Antidote as well in my hairline. I have found that whenever I have colored hair like this, that, you know, your roots show really quickly. So you can use eyeshadow in your hair, and that helps make it where you don't have to dye it as often. See how pretty that shade is? Poison Ivy, eat your heart out. This look to me screams Poison Ivy. I mean, she's got red hair, I've got green, but you know, a girl can hope, can't she? Poison Ivy has always been one of my favorite DC characters. And like Uma Thurman, when she did it, you know, and Batman, was it Batman and Robin? Jeremy, was it Batman and Robin that Uma Thurman did it? Yes, it was.
Yes.
I'll tell you, absolutely amazing. So, this is the completed look. What do you think? As I said, this is definitely a palette I would recommend. And I'm sure there'll be great Black Friday sales. But I guess that's it. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button right down below. And if you hit the notification bell icon next to it, that will notify you when I'm posting new videos, which is typically Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, with tons of bonus content thrown within. So I guess that's it. We'll see y'all later. Bye.